Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth off-season edition. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud, and we are going to break down this 2020 NFL season. It's going to happen. I'm not exactly sure how yet. We got three options for you. You guys excited to talk real football, maybe? We call it real football.
No, it's coming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in some capacity. It's just a matter of when it's going to start, how long it's going to be, and will there be fans there?
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to run down three options we identified, and then we're each going to kind of take one and run with it. So, Phil, you're going to run with option one. But so here are the three things we figured out might be some realistic scenarios. They play the normal season and starting on time, but with limited fans, probably 50% stadium capacity. Or they start the season a month late, but play the full season, and we're saying no fans would come into the stadium at that point, at least to start the season. Or they shorten the season by a month, so they cut 4 games off and only play 12. And that would begin in October or November and push the Super Bowl and the playoffs later in the year. Okay. Phil, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced, and out of the three of us, I think I'm pretty optimistic. We know who the pessimist is over there, but yeah. I really feel with the way that the NHL made their announcement today that they're starting in some capacity, the NBA is looking to do it in some capacity, whether they play all their games in Florida. I really feel like they're going to have a full slate of games. Whether or not there's fans or not, that's going to be the debate, because unless it's safe, they're not going to put fans in the stands. But I'm convinced they're going to play all 16 games, and they're going to start on time.
What do you think about this primary option, starting the season on time?
I don't think that it happens. I say that because you have some states that haven't released anything yet, right? So New Jersey today just released that they can get back into their facilities with limited capacity, and most staff still has to work remotely from home, but the players can start training in the facility. So we are basically in June, right?
Yeah.
We've missed all of OTAs. You have new players haven't even met their coaching staffs yet. You know, you're still going to have a period before you get into the off season. It will be with preseason. I mean, training camp opens for the Jets in like 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
How do you have training camp when you haven't gone through any of this stuff yet? There's nothing. I mean, you're literally, and the reason why I say that it's feasible to start a month late, you're technically a month late from starting the season.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So if you were to allow players to get back into the training facilities and do this and do that, you're only going to have some teams that are prepared, because you have some teams that are already ahead of the game, and some states haven't even allowed to do it. So that's not a fair advantage. You're going to have to wait until all states are open and all states are ready to go for all of their training camps and training facilities, and then you can start to do it. I mean, Illinois hasn't released anything yet, so the Bears can't practice. True. Right?
Yeah, because you want that even playing field for all teams.
Right. So Florida has. Carolina hasn't, so the Panthers are going to be way behind. New York announced that they can start doing it, but the Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey, so that was announced today.
Yeah. So you're the
Washington hasn't announced anything. I don't think California's announced anything yet about sports, pro sports teams. So I mean, all of these teams, they're going to be behind. They're going to be behind.
So California they keep releasing target dates. So I think the very first week of July is their target date to allow pro sports to resume. I don't think that would include fans unless it keeps trending as positively, or it's.
Yeah, but that's when training camp opens. So I mean, you can't. Right. It's impossible to get all of your new players. I mean, they haven't even been able to study playbooks. I mean,
I think they send them to them.
Well, I think we can all agree that there'll be a competitive disadvantage across the board for everybody because of this offseason. Now, the NFL could unilaterally say, we're not going to play the preseason, or we're going to have one preseason game, and we're going to cut training camp in half because we want to start on time. So they could do that. They have the power to do that. I'm not sure. I'm gonna argue for the third option, which is kind of the worst case scenario. But you think October 1st is a very realistic start date?
Yeah, I don't think they start in September. I think October, and I think October is probably a bit ambitious.
So I agree with you that they missed OTAs, obviously, but most players don't even show up to OTAs. None of the veterans show up to OTAs. Most people don't even want to go to training camp. So
yeah, it doesn't matter though, Phil. It's a necessary part of the game. It's a necessary part of team building. I mean, they have.
No, but I'm saying
Some free agents, Phil, haven't even been able to have physicals from their new team yet because they can't get to the building to have a physical.
Hold on, time out. So the people making the decision about when to start the season are the owners. And the owners only care about making money. They don't really care about whether their players are ready to play, because if someone gets hurt, someone else will step in. So they don't want to ruin the game of football. So I guarantee you, if there's a way for them to start September 1st, they will make it happen, because that's their kickoff. They're the only league that's going to start on time, and it's going to be huge.
The good news is
Labor Day weekend.
Right. So you still have a few more months. And again, the NHL is going to start, by July, mid-July, whatever it is?
Training camp, Bettman said that he doesn't think training camp will start until at least July. So my guess is that you probably won't see the actual playoff games till August. And then the season will be over. I mean, that's a whole.
Yeah. No.
Are they really going to? Are they really going to
screwed next year? But that's beside the point.
They're going to do August playoffs for the next season to start in October or September?
Well, hockey playoffs are usually 2 months long. So.
And this one's a round robin 24-team event. So.
Right. So I mean, you're looking at probably October for it to be finished. You still have to have free agency, and then you have to have training camps. I mean, you're not going to have the next season until January.
As an outside,
the reason I brought that up is let's say those start up in end of July or August. NBA does the same. You're going to have a month or 6 weeks worth of data to show, hey, we can do this. We can do it with or without fans, and then the NFL can be like, yes, we can capitalize on this or not. Like they're the guinea pigs, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you get fans in stadiums when they're so strict on social distancing right now. What do you think the owners are going to want to fill the stadium with like 55 people?
No, I don't. My take on this is I think they start on time, but I don't think it's going to start with anybody in the stadium.
So I think you're overestimating this strictness, because I mean, you can go to Target and they just have a person at the door that limits the people that come in, and then you're spread out with the little stickers on the ground. I think that you're going to need a lot of security to move people in and out of the stadium. But if you have people sitting every other seat, every other row, you get 50% capacity or 25% capacity, and you get a nice crowd at the game. I think it's better than nothing. I have a
feeling. What does that do for season ticket holders like Phil? So Phil can't go to the game?
No. It makes my tickets worth that much more now.
Yeah, but I mean, Dan, you're talking about a scenario where certain seats are empty and certain rows are empty. What if Phil owns a PSL for row X in section 323? What if that row is designated as an empty row?
I am going to remind you that I don't think that they particularly care about the individual. So if Phil can't go to one home game, he'll get to go to the next home game. And his season tickets will only be for half as many games this year, but that's the cost of the pandemic, and everyone's going to bear the burden.
Phil better be calling John Mara up so he can get a refund.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm just saying they're going to make it happen.
Yeah, as of right now, my payment plan is on hold until at least July right now, because they don't know what they're going to do yet.
And maybe they'll slash the cost in half for you and eat it. I mean, the NFL can afford to. So I'm not sure exactly how they'll finagle the details. They'll pick their start date first. And
listen, when I get that information, I'll let you know, because I'll be, I'll get that in the next few months, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good news coming out of New York. So I could see by September, with some distancing and face mask policies, that there would be no issue having people return into the stadium. It's a huge, huge area. Now, I know it's not all open air, but it's enormous. And so the bathrooms would be an issue. I don't know about using bathrooms. Most public restrooms are still closed. So that would be the biggest hurdle, is allowing people to use the bathrooms, keeping them clean, because those places are pigsties.
And the lines are always forever and a day, and people are packed on top of each other. I mean, people are peeing at MetLife Stadium in sinks because there's no urinals.
Yeah, and so that they could easily start the season with no fans and just digitally add them on television. It might just go over better from a viewing standpoint. So
that's weird too. Listen, I don't really care. I just want to see football. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not I have made a decision, and I go to games every year. I've made a decision. I'm not going to any games this year.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'll be honest. I just don't feel safe.
You know what really hurts for me? This is the year that the new LA Stadium opens, and the Jets are out here.
Mm-hmm. Twice.
Yep. Twice.
Actually, now you can go because there won't be such a demand for tickets. You'll be able to sit wherever the hell you want.
And we'll see if they're allowed to have people there.
And if they're allowed to have people there,
so I will let you know if they're selling tickets to this game, they are going to be sold out, and they are going to be very difficult to get, and they're going to be very expensive. This is LA. They opened the beaches, and everyone went to the beach. I went to the beach the other day. It wasn't busy the beach I went to, but people are going to do what they can do. So I'm going to keep I want to go, but I'm not holding my breath this season.
Listen, it's LA and Vegas are opening up this year.
Yeah. Well, Vegas got to reopen Vegas before it can reopen the stadium.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, right. I'm just saying that, but that's two stadiums that they were multi-billion dollars that they're going to have essentially no revenue coming in for this year.
That's where the NHL is going to play. Guarantee you.
A side note: the LA Stadium, it was supposed to cost, I think, $2 billion, and it overran $5 billion, and it cost $7 billion. So they're so far in the hole, and having no concerts and no events is going to crush them. It's just, and this is. Jerry Jones Construction Company overran on the costs.
$7 billion for that's incredible.
You got that, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the worst is that Jerry Jones and the Steinbrenners, their construction company, built the stadium. They bid the $1 to $2 billion and then overran it by the $5 billion. So it's crazy. I think it got flooded one off season, so they lost several months because it was flooded. Okay, we'll get back to the games, right?
Yeah, well, the game's at 1. You have access at 12 o'clock. You have access at 12:30. That way, there's not 50,000 people all going. I mean, you know how it is when we go to Jets Giants games. I mean, when we went this year, we tailgated until 12:30, and then before you know it, everybody's bum rushing to the front because the game starts in a half an hour.
Yeah, there will be no tailgating anywhere. That sucks. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they keep you apart. You prove your family to tailgate.
Again, let's pray that by September there's such an advance. Like again, we started this in March, and it's the end of May.
Yeah.
And look how far we've come. So let's just pray that in the next 3 months, it's that much better.
Yeah. So worst case scenario is that they lose some games, which I can't see them losing more than a month. And so that would put 12 games. It would really change the whole dynamic of the season and the playoffs. But they have a Super Bowl date set, right? So that they're not going to change their Super Bowl date. So they'll do something to crunch the front, and they would have to crunch the back. Like, I don't know if they could realistically.
Well, you would lose the
week in between.
The week in between the championship game and the Pro Bowl. I mean and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You eliminate the Pro Bowl, which is just a waste of time anyway. So you gain a week there. You might have to lose the bye.
Yeah.
So there's 2 weeks right there.
That means
2 weeks right there.
That means the Jets and Dolphins play 2 weeks in a row, literally.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
They play, and then they have a bye, and then they play again.
Well, would they cut if they cut 4 games? Would they cut the doubled up division games? They wouldn't do that. What would they cut? I don't even know.
They would probably cut the games that are. So the Jets have to play the NFC West, obviously the AFC East.
That would just be a mess.
And
it'd be a logistical nightmare. You know what they could do is, so every year you play the team that you in the same how you finish. If you finish first in the NFC East, you play the AFC West team that get in first place. Like those are the only 4 teams you don't know who you're playing every year. The schedule is set for the next like 10 years. You know who you're playing. You just don't know what date you're playing. But there's those about 2 or 3 games. I think it's 2 or 4. It has to be even, where you don't know because it's matched up based on how you finish in the standings. You can eliminate those ones.
Yeah, except they're not necessarily all the same week for every team, right?
That's a good point too.
Then you would basically have to throw out the schedule and remake the whole schedule for every team.
So I think that's pretty unrealistic at this point, considering things. Unless things get dramatically worse in the summer, I don't see them having to go that route. I'm personally torn whether I think they'll be able to start September 1st or October 1st. I know they want to do September 1st. If they start late, does that change the offseason or no? You think they just keep everything as is?
If they start late,
I think you would have.
By.
I think you would have an abbreviated OTA, and then I think you would have a longer training camp, and you would have more inter-squad scrimmages and less preseason games. Which is what people want anyway. Preseason games are garbage. I mean, they're these inter squad scrimmages. I mean, they're basically playing against another team, except it's no contact. I mean,
and at least the starters play the whole time.
Right.
Do you think they care at all about when the NBA finals will be, when the NHL finals will be?
NFL will destroy them. Listen, the NBA and the NHL should just scrap the season for this year and just start again in October. This is like Bud said.
The NHL announced it today.
No, I know what I'm saying. You're screwing 2 seasons up now.
Yeah, I mean, the only real competition the NFL is going to have is the Masters in November.
Yeah. So from quickly on the NHL NBA, I don't actually think it's such a bad thing for these leagues because we knew in January what teams were going to make the NBA playoffs in both conferences, almost all 16 teams. We knew.
That's true.
So that really means that if they end this season late and lose the beginning of next season, it's only going to make it a little bit better because that first part – I don't know. I, as an outside fan, I don't think the regular season does much for either of these leagues. If they cut them in half, it'll only make it more exciting, and we're still going to get the same result because we only get half about it.
I think that it's stupid that the NBA thinks that every single team is going to have to go and play out some sort of their season. You really think that the Knicks or
they weren't going to,
or whatever crappy Western Conference team is going to want to fly to Orlando, be away from their family, be away, to play meaningless basketball games? It's stupid. If they're going to do it, they should do it like the NHL, where they basically told the teams that weren't even close to, you guys are done, go home, enjoy, rest. And the teams that were still mathematically involved in the playoffs now have a chance. I mean, the Rangers, I'm a Rangers fan, the Rangers were 1 point out of the playoffs when all of this crap happened.
Yeah.
So in reality, the Rangers could have made the playoffs, which is why they extended it, because they didn't want to take away the advantage of these last couple teams.
And I like that. And in the NBA, that would add a couple, maybe 1 or 2 teams, but the Knicks were definitely mathematically.
There was no basketball being played. That's why I said let's just scrap it, because who cares?
Well, let's assume that these leagues come back by the end of July. I don't know if they could really come do that quickly. It depends on what Florida, Arizona lets them do. Then I do think that kind of paves the way for the NFL September 1st or that first week of September to do its kickoff, because, like you said, there's going to be a whole month of proof of concept, basically.
Yeah, I agree. Let them be the guinea pigs, because aside from OTAs and maybe you start training camp late, they've already had their draft. They've already had free agency. Like they're not really falling behind. Yes, you could couple meetings, OTAs, whatever, but the majority of their stuff they've already gotten in place, which is good.
So let's talk for a second about how this affects the rookies, because they're the ones hurt the most. I mean, obviously, Phil, your team's coaching staff's brand new, but Jason Garrett's a veteran offensive coordinator, and they're going to run his entire offense with the Giants, which is probably for the best, because then it's not quite so new, at least for the coaches. But the rookies, I mean, especially those quarterbacks that are going to get thrown in there, they need this time or they're going to suck. I mean, are they going to start on the bench, or are they going to see a lot of rookies not play that we usually would? What do you think?
See, I wonder. I don't know the answer to this. I wonder how many like Zoom meetings they've had, and they've gone on the whiteboard. Hey, this is how we run our offense. These are the types of things we like to do. These are the plays we want you to study. Yes, you're not on the field, but there's got to be a way that they've been at least in contact with each other.
Yeah, when all I hear about the Jets is, oh, well, they got all new offensive line, and the offensive line needs to work together for them to be successful. I'm like, you're just beating this dead horse, but this has got to be the exact same thing for every team. There's no way Tua starts for Miami if he doesn't see the field in July with the coaches. So I don't know. They'll give it to Fitzpatrick, who ran the offense wonderfully. So,
but yeah, I mean, to your point, you're right. It probably would hurt them. Again, all these veterans that don't want to play training camp anyway, they show up the day before the season and they're fine. They know what they're doing. Yes, the rookies, it's going to hurt.
Well, what about Tom Brady, who's technically on a new team with new offense? Is it going to be?
By the way, his golf game sucks. 8 handicap, my ass. My ass. He's an 8 handicap. He was spraying the ball left and right all over the place.
He did hole out from the fairway.
Please, I hit the ball better than him.
I could argue that this favors him because he's got 3 superstar wide receivers just to huck it up to, except that he might be able to still throw deep in September. He doesn't normally by the end of October. But I could also argue that this is going to greatly hurt him because he's on a brand new offense. They've never played together. So I don't know. I'm a little torn. Like, I feel like this favors someone like a Jets Darnold who's young and has got the energy, could get away with less training camp, but has had the team for a couple of years. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys have a reading? What do you think?
I think the Jets are screwed anyway. They got the second hardest schedule in the league.
I didn't want to use Darnell as an example because I didn't want to make it about the Jets, but I couldn't help.
I mean, but you asked my opinion. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they got the second hardest schedule in the league. I mean,
how'd the second easiest schedule go for them last season? Not so good. I don't think that means a lot, but that's just personal opinion.
I think the biggest question is Jamal Adams going to be a Jet by
he's under contract for 2 more years.
Jamal Adams said he wanted to be traded to Dallas the other day. I saw.
He's just posturing.
No, I don't. Listen, I don't want to see that.
If he doesn't go play for the Jets, he's going to burn his bridges. I mean, yeah, he's great, but like he's going to make himself seem like a locker room cancer if he doesn't show up. He's got.
Well, he's already. I mean, he's in his 3rd year and he's already acting like
I know. When I was reading, like his dad he's come from a football family. His dad got screwed over on the business side. So
but the Jets have made it very clear to him that they want to re-sign him, but considering the environment of what's going on right now, I don't think that it's financially prudent to throw $75 million to a safety. Just in the off chance, what if you don't play this year?
Yeah, I know. I agree.
What if everything gets absolutely cockamamie batshit crazy in September and they can't do anything, and they say, you know what, we can't play football, we can't do it. What, now you're paying this guy all this money?
No, I agree. Well, he's technically their best player. Darnold should get that contract. So, I mean, assuming he continues to improve in 2 years. I think they give it to Adams in the offseason, assuming that they get to play this year. But it's rare. It's only a couple guys that get their extensions after year 3. It's real rare.
So Aaron Darnold didn't.
No.
Was that Dak story fake, Bud, that we were talking about the other day? I thought I saw that it was not true.
No, I mean, I read it in multiple places. I guess maybe Dallas came out and said, no, that's not true. But I read it in multiple places that he turned down a $175 million 5-year contract.
Right.
He said he wants more.
Yeah. What is he? Is he waiting for Mahomes to sign? I mean, is he waiting for the reset the market?
Mahomes is going to get $200 million, and guess what? He's worth.
He won a Super Bowl and an MVP.
No, I agree. I'm saying, is that what he's waiting for?
I like Dak, but he hasn't done those things. I'm not sure if that was good or bad offer, but I feel like it behooves him to stay with the Cowboys.
But again, that makes this whole Jamal Adams to Dallas thing even more cockamamie because they just paid Amari Cooper, they just paid Zeke. They gotta pay Prescott unless they don't want to. Are they going to want to take a contract from Adams, who's going to need to get paid, and he's going to want to get paid high price? and Dak, who wants $40-45 million a year. No,
and then they're going to give up a couple number one picks to get them too.
Yeah, they'd have to give up at least 2 number ones for it, and all of their money would be tied up into 4 players.
And I don't know why the Jets would make that deal because Dallas's number ones aren't going to be particularly high.
Well, listen, I said this last year. I mean, if they wanted to throw 2 number one picks to the Jets for him, you probably would do that.
Yeah, but you hope you get a top 10 pick from Dallas. Isn't giving you a top 10.
You're not going to get a top 10 pick unless they.
Yeah, I agree.
They have the 5th highest percentage to win the Super Bowl right now.
That's please give me a break. That's every year. Stop it.
I'm saying. I mean, don't get on me. I mean, I'm just reading the stats. I don't make this stuff up, Phil.
What about Cam Newton? Is he going to get a team? What's up with that?
Nah, I don't think. Not for a while. I think he's going to be one of those guys that gets called in when a starter gets hurt.
Yeah.
This whole thing is not helping him out. I mean.
No, I agree.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.